All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the wait. It will be worth it. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see a familiar name to play
hmm
that's going to play in our round this time. It's going to be
Susie J,
hmm,
again.
Sesuj again, yeah. But the other guy is someone I'm familiar with. That it's kind of blasphemy to say his name because he is the
You're
one and
roasting them
only Uno
already, dude.
cheater. He's the Uno cheater, dude. Uno cheater. Oh my god, this is Aldrich. We
hmm
have seen him a lot in different tournaments. This guy is not sleeping 24/7 on Discord playing Showdown. What is this guy doing here? Oh man.
I mean, if we're going to talk about people's sleep schedules, JJ, I think we're going to have to talk about you first.
I mean, to be fair, I still sleep like 7, 8 hours, but this
Yeah,
guy is
just
not sleeping at all.
okay,
Just
okay, okay.
reversed, yeah.
Yeah,
Right? Just
you're just a
reversed.
bat. You're just nocturnal, but at least you still sleep. I guess that's something.
Right? So yeah, this is gonna be really interesting as both of these players actually 1-1 their previous matches. Susie J 1-1 against SML as we've seen
hmm
earlier. And then we also got Aldrich, who unfortunately we didn't see in the stream, but 1-1 against Tynator. So let's see though if they're going to be able to get a 2-0 against each other, or is it going to be a game tree once again in this round?
Yeah, and I believe the game is ready, so we will not delay any further, and we will jump right into things.
Into the game.
Yeah, one thing to point out is that Aldrich or Uno Cheater, however you want to refer to him as, did technically go 4-2 in Swiss. However, they did also leave the tournament early, we'll say, to potentially do that thing called sleep. So if they had continued to
Right.
play, who knows? But they did go 4-0 in the first 4 rounds, and then they qualified for top cut. So, you know,
He was
take
like,
that as
okay,
you will. They are
let me-
definitely a strong player.
right. So here we have it. Let us have a champion time. So first off, we're going to see the Kyogre Tornadoes. Oh, pretty nasty lead. I don't like this. I don't like Aldrich. I don't like Uno cheating. But Sushi J though is going to start off with a Thunderous and Among Us.
Yep. So we see two genies facing each other down. They were introduced in Generation 5, and they've been pretty prolific in VGC.
Best gen.
Okay, well, I don't know about that. I don't know. Talk to me about Gen 4, okay? But
Okay. I respect that. No
I'm a Sinnoh guy
disrespect.
myself. But we
No
are
disrespect, but I'm just saying.
but we are going to see the Thunder S Dynamax. And we see it paired with that Amoonguss, which we do know has that Rage Powder and has that redirection. Kyogre, as I
Right.
mentioned before, is a Pokemon that doesn't really necessarily need the Dynamax to do a lot of its damage. Water Spouts do a huge amount. As we see two Pokemon protect on each side, I wonder if this Tornadus is going to go for... It is going to go for that Tailwind with that Prankster ability, giving status moves a +1 on priority. So Speed Control, for the most part, will be in favor of Aldrich. However, we do see Susie J correctly, in my opinion, going for max Airstreams, trying to weaken down this Kyogre because Water Spout, its most powerful move, does less damage the lower its HP is, and also try and get
Right.
that speed back in his favor with those speed boosts from max Airstream.
Right, but let's see though how Aldrich is going to be able to cheat his way here. I mean, I'm not saying that it's actually a cheater, but it's Aldrich, and he's a pretty known player in the VGC scene. But I think Suzuje is going to be able to give him quite a good match. Going
do
to
too.
make Aldrich, is going to be able to make Aldrich actually struggle a bit. But here we have it. We are seeing a Lapras switch for Suzuje here. And Among Us is going to go out, get switched out for the Lapras. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see the Aurora Veil here just because of the fact that we already had the Dynamax into that Thunderous. And of course, it is going to be the Dynamax Tornadoes. I'd like to believe it is going to be the Tornadoes. And there we
Genie
have it.
versus
And
Genie.
just like that, I think Aldrich's play here is going to be a max Airstream as well. Just to be able to make sure that Kyogre is going to be the fastest Pokemon into the field and just ram everyone with his own attacks.
Yeah, speed control, for those of you who are unaware, was actually changed in Generation 8, where now speed happens, the calculation happens mid-turn. So,
Immediately.
immediately, yeah. So before, if
Yeah.
you decided to say Tailwind, it wouldn't affect you until next turn. But in Generation 8, and presumably onward, it now affects you immediately. So,
Right.
keeping speed in your favor, whether it be via Trick Room or slowing things down with things like Electro Web or speeding yourself up with Tailwind or Max Airstream, has been a huge theme in VGC throughout
changer,
this
yep.
entire generation. As we do see the Kyogre hang on there, but it did unfortunately heal the Lapras up with its Water Absorb using that Water Spout. I'm a little surprised to not see maybe an Ice Beam come out into Thundurus to try and trip it down. Maybe he's worried about a weakness policy on it. We have seen the item pick up a bit in usage on the Genies, though it's typically not something they like to run. But, Lapras, we have seen it have Freeze Dry, which is an Ice-type move that is super effective on Water types. So Kyogre has to definitely be looking out for that. This is probably Kyogre's last turn on the field, unless it gets swapped out. So we'll have to see what it sort of sends off the match with. As Lapras goes for Protect, I think reading another Max Airstream into that slot coming out from Aldrich's side.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Even if it protects, it's still going to be able to get hit by the Max Airstream, making sure that Aldrich gets +2. But just going to be able to reduce the damage, I guess. But there we have it. Currently at +2, Kyogre and Tornadoes right now. Ice Beam is going to be the thing of the game right now. Not going to have any Assault Vest or Weakness Policy into that Thunderous, and going to be able to one KO with this Kyogre as well. Currently, I believe +3 right now into the side of Sesuj for both Lapras and Thunderous.
Yeah, but I think one thing that Aldrich, looking at it now, I think knew immediately on turn 1, and the reason why he protected his Kyogre and delayed his Dynamax a turn is because he knew that Susuj's way to get around Tailwind is to just spam Max Airstream. But since he delayed his own Dynamax a turn, he now has one extra turn to get another speed boost that Sesuj then cannot,
but you have to remember, though, that even if he actually delayed his Dynamax turn, that would only mean that Thundurus is actually still the fastest Pokemon into the side of the battle.
Once Tailwind goes down, I believe so, yes. But you can see Aldrich targeting around the Thundurus, saying, hey, this isn't really a threat to me. I have Regieleki. It's literally the fastest Pokemon in the game, with a base 200 speed stat. Actually insane. And then it just got a +1 boost. So it's probably going to be faster. Yup, it is faster. And it has Thunder, a move we don't usually see, but makes a lot of sense coming off of, a Kyogre team, excuse me. It is 100% accurate in the rain. And you can see with that Tailwind boost, with that +1, even a +3 Thundurus is not going to be able to outspeed it. And it's going to get that KO. And it's looking rough. I mean, Amoonguss is full. It is a bulky Pokemon. Grass, typically, excuse me, not Grass. Amoonguss typically does pretty well into Regieleki, not Electro. That's a move, not a Pokemon.
Right.
Because Grass does resist Electric. However, Thundurus is still there, and it's a flying type. It presumably has Air Slash. So we're going to have to see how this sort of plays out. Zacian is a pretty decently sized threat, though. You can never underestimate it.
Now, here is what I actually like about Aldrich. He may make mistakes in the first game. Look at this. He was trying double protect for Sesuj, but here's the thing, right? For Aldrich, he may make mistakes at the very early stages of the round, but he immediately just tries. Well, not tries. He actually does it. Make up for those mistakes, as he was trying to set up Kyogre, right? He was trying to set up Kyogre into the earlier stages, but in this case, he doesn't even need a Kyogre anymore, as he's already got this Regieleki set up, and of course he also has the Tornadoes just ready to roll out against Sesuj, and just like that, Sesuj is going to go in for the Rage Powder, going to get all the redirected attacks. Hurricane is going to be able to potentially want to KO this Amoonguss. Never mind, it's going to hold on to its Focus Sash, but you have to still remember, though, that was something. Electro Web, that is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Aldrich doesn't need the setup Kyogre. He doesn't need to know anything at all. once you make him go ham, once you have him set up, even after the mistake, everything's just going to go down. Now, even with this attack, Sacred Sword going to be able to knock out this Reggie Alecki. You still have that threat of tornadoes on +3 speed right now. So that is still something to look forward to. And we also have
Ooh.
this I would call this Pokemon again, this fighting type Pokemon. This is the
Urshifu.
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda, but if
Kung
he was
Fu
fit.
Panda.
Yeah.
If he was fit, yeah, still going to be able to just one KO. Well, not one KO the Zacian, but definitely
Do a lot of
going to be
damage.
able to knock it off this turn. That is the strength of Aldrich.
Yeah.
That is also why I don't like him.
As I was saying before, I mean, that is a reason why Kyogre is so good, because you don't need to Dynamax it. But if you do, it's also so annoying and so strong. However, I want to point out that Electro Web, you might think, why go for Electro Web besides to break a potential Sash and get that KO on the Amoonguss? The reason why is because, yes, Tornadus was +3, but with the Electro Web, you ensure that whatever your Pokemon in the back is, it will outspeed the Zacian because it's -1. And if that Electro Web missed the Zacian, or he didn't go for Electro Web there, I think Aldrich would have lost. But, as you can see there, he was able to get the win because he was faster. That was very, very well calculated, very well thought out. Very impressive play from Aldrich. And Susie J, though. I think Susie J knew what they needed to do as well.
Right. That is definitely a higher level of play than what we saw in the earlier match. We just saw the power of Aldrich going to be able to adapt to the situation. Definitely, just being able to cope up with everything. Very toxic player. Toxic? No, not in the bad way. Not in the bad way.
Could you use that in a non bad connotation?
like look at this. Okay, I'm going to explain myself. Right, I'm going to explain myself. So that toxicity of his play style is just making he's too high level that if you play with him, it's like you're playing with like a world champion. I have high respect for the guy. I have high respect for the guy. He plays so well. He plays like you're playing in the worlds. That is how it feels to be able to play against Aldrich, and I don't know, man. As I mentioned earlier, before we head back into the stream, if he wanted the 6-0, I'm sure he would have done it.
It is definitely something to consider as we jump into game number 2 here. Aldrich just needs this one win to then be almost qualified for winning some amounts of money. Yep, as he does lead with the shiny duo again, as we see Susie J mix it up a bit and go with the Amoonguss Lapras. I think the obvious play here is to, G-Max Resonance into that Tornadus, get the screens up, get a bunch of damage off, and then kind of go from there and try and stall out this Kyogre. Kyogre can't really do any damage to Lapras. It has Water Absorb, so it'll just keep healing off of Origin Pulse and Water Spout, as they are spread moves. And Ice Beam's going to do nothing against a 4x resistant Pokemon. So Kyogre, I wouldn't be surprised to see it switch out, but it does stay in. Interesting. I wonder if it has maybe another coverage move that isn't typically run, or maybe it's just going to go raw Ice Beams into Amoonguss, and then once Amoonguss is gone, switch out after that. We'll have to see. But Tornadus is once again in that Dynamax form.
Right. Now here we have it. Definitely not going to be able to stall this, not going to be able to delay the Dynamax anymore just because of the threats that currently awaits Aldrich here, especially with that Lapras. Definitely a Gigantamax Lapras here. Going for that G-Max Resonance just to be able to bring out the Aurora Veil. Going to reduce the damage that he's going to be able to take in by 50%. Aldrich is looking like he's currently into the bad side, but let's see how he's going to be able to adapt here. Amoonguss goes in for Protect. Aldrich definitely goes in for the Max Airstream, going to target that Amoonguss. Reduce damage thanks to the Protect, but it's still a huge damage now currently at +1. Both Tornadoes and that of the Kyogre. Now, I think the GMX Resonance would be able to want to KO this Tornadoes, but what's important is that at least he has that +1 into his side. But let's see though if it's actually going to be a 1 KO. Oh no, not quite enough. He lives for another day.
Lapras, while it is extremely bulky, is not known for doing a ton of damage unless it either has Life Orb or is set up with that weakness policy. So I'm not too surprised to see Tornadus take the hit there. But looks like we're going to see Amoonguss switch out here. I do like the idea of this play. However, an Ice Beam is probably going into that slot, and you're switching in your Ice Weak Pokemon, so it's not really a great situation. But it will resist the Airstream that is going into that slot, as it is part Electric. Okay, so not a ton of damage. I think with the Assault Vest, it will take this Ice Beam quite nicely, actually. I think this is a pretty good play for Sesuj.
But you have to remember, +2 right now, Tornadus.
It's the Water
Ooh,
Spout.
Water Spout?
I don't know if it takes a Water Spout. Oh, Assault Vest coming in huge. Almost.
I don't know what Aldrich is thinking. That is, well, usually the case. I don't know what this guy is thinking when he's playing, but he makes it work. I don't know how he does it, but he read the switch. And
I think he read the switch there.
I think so as well. But what doesn't make sense to me is, instead of going for the Ice Beam, instead of going for the Ice Beam, he actually went in for the Water Spout. Yes, I know it's gonna do more damage, especially in the rain, but at the same time, there's still the Lapras.
And
They're just
Lapras
making sure that it sustains.
Yeah, but it was already at full HP, so it wasn't like it was healing any damage back anyways. And now
That's true.
we are going to see the Amoonguss come back out. We'll see if Aldrich gets the read again. If he Ice Beams the Tornadus, the Thunderous slot, which honestly isn't that crazy because he covers the option, and like you don't really need a Water Spout this turn because you can just attack that slot with Regieleki. It is going to go for the Protect. If Kyogre Ice Beams here, I might lose my mind. Okay. It won't one-hit KO because it does have... Oh, wait, Focus Sash isn't even intact, but Amoonguss. Okay. Amoonguss doesn't care.
Enough of the damage.
Amoonguss doesn't care.
Max Geyser right now not going to do a lot of damage thanks to the Protect, reduce damage. But what's going to be the play here? What's going to be the play here for Aldrich? Water Spout's not going to do a lot into the Amoonguss. Definitely that Ice Wave, we already saw that it's not even half health. But with the help of the Regieleki, he might just be able to take down this Amoonguss.
Yep, that G-Max Resonance is really putting in work. I mean, Amoonguss, it might not have went down that turn even without it. It depends on how specially defensive it's trained, but it would have taken a lot more damage and would certainly go down to Electro Web or something after that. One thing I want to point out is that in these sort of restricted formats, there typically tends to be a lot more special attackers. Just because, when you have things like Groudon and Zacian, Intimidate becomes really, really valuable to slow them down.
Right.
So being a special attacker just typically is better because you don't get slowed down by
And it's not like there's actually Pokemon that has an Intimidate ability, but for special attackers.
Yeah, that doesn't exist yet. So,
Yeah, Game Freak, you better be listening.
Yeah, Game Freak, if you're listening to this. But looks like this turn is going to be pretty much kind of null as we see a double Protect go in there. I think maybe trying to stall out the rain to try and, not get hit by super effective, 100% accurate Thunder. I think a Thunder into that Lapras slot would probably be pretty safe. There isn't a ton of switch-ins, and it is going to do a ton of damage off of Regieleki with that Transistor ability, boosting its Electro-type moves. But Amoonguss is just going to be annoying and keep getting these Regenerators, keep switching in and out, and we're going to see the Ice Beam come in. If this this will pick up the KO on the Thundurus. So Thundurus is finally gone after what feels like an eternity. This game is definitely a lot slower than Game 1. And Volt Switch, okay.
Right.
A lot of damage.
Oh, does a lot of damage, even on Aurora Veil. I mean, yeah, I understand it has like essentially +1 to transistor, but that is still huge, dude.
Yeah, I don't believe this Lapras is very defensive. I feel it's probably just like max special attack speed. Freeze Dry will come out, super effective on the Kyogre, but it won't do a lot of damage.
Not even half.
Is that that's a weakness policy?
Oh, Sesuj is in a world of hurt.
Okay, so that's really bad for Sesuj. However, his one saving grace is that Rain is gone, and the weakness policy just procced. So like, you don't want to switch out your Kyogre to then switch it back in.
That is true.
And get Rain, but then you lose your boost. But also,
essentially, he doesn't even need the Rain.
He doesn't really need the Rain anymore because he pretty much has it with the weakness policy.
Right. with a +2, it doesn't really need the
Yeah,
rain
and
anymore.
Kyogre's still +2 speed from the airstreams because it hasn't switched. So
Mm-hmm.
Zacian can't, hit it with like a secret sword or something or a close combat to do a bunch of damage. So I don't. Origin Pulse is gonna do a lot of damage here. So will Ice Beam. You don't really want to heal the Lapras up at this range, but Urshifu, being faster than Lapras, can basically bypass it, protecting with its ability. Go for a close combat potentially in that slot. We will see the Amoonguss come back in. This Amoonguss has been very, very annoying for Aldrich to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And Scald, if it gets a burn here,
That's gonna
okay,
be hard.
that would have been
But
hard.
look at the damage though. Even with +2, it's still not enough of a damage to actually take down that what do you call this? Take down that Zacian. But I think it would have been better if he actually went in for the water spout. But I mean, I guess he didn't want to risk it, as you mentioned. The
Yeah.
Lapras is in a position where the water spout is actually going to do him a lot of favor. But he still has a transistor here. Definitely the Thunder is back to 70% accuracy. Previously 90, but now it's 70.
It's
70 or
100%.
75?
It's 100% in rain, and it's 75. I believe 75 or 70.
Yeah, yeah,
normally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But like
Mhm.
before, it was only 90, and now it's 70. It got actually nerfed.
Oh,
But of
yes,
course,
yes, yes,
it's
yes,
going
yes.
to
Mm-hmm.
right. But it's going to like remove the accuracy check
Yes.
into when it's in rain. But let's see how Aldrich is going to be able to turn this around, knowing the fact that Sesuj actually still has 3 more Pokemon. I mean, sure, we have the Lapras, heavily damaged, but still, it's still 3 to 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, it is. And it's a little bit of an awkward position for Aldrich. I mean, close combat is kind of your best move to hit a lot of these things, but the problem is you keep lowering your defenses. We don't know the item on Urshifu. It could be Focus Sash. And we do see the Secret Sword
Could
come
be.
out, and it is.
It
It is going to be
is.
that Focus Sash. If you KO... The problem is if you KO the Lapras here, then Amoonguss gets to come back in, pretty much full HP, and then you have to deal with Rage Powder, and you can't really get behind the
critical hit.
Zacian.
Oh yeah. Oh. Why am I surprised with a critical hit? It was a wicked blow.
Don't
Why
worry.
am I surprised?
Sometimes I'm like, why does this move always crit? And then I'm like, wait, because that's how the move works. But
I surprised.
this is gonna be tough.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you can just go for Secret Sword, Rage Powder, Behemoth Bash, Rage Powder. KOing that Lapras there, I think you needed to KO the Zacian. I think
yeah. I think he would be able to knock out this what do you call this, Zacian, but of course, thanks to the Rage part, is going to just redirect everything. So Electro is definitely.
Ooh.
Oh, Zacian avoided it. Oh my god,
Oh,
that
that's
is
even
bad.
worse.
That is really bad.
I don't think that mattered too much, if I'm honest with you, but that definitely doesn't help. Yeah, and then now the Regieleki going to faint. You can't get through the Amoonguss. This unfortunately is going to be the end of this match for Aldrich. So we will be going to a game 3, which is exciting. But I think you needed the close combat into the Zacian there and hope it KOs. Judging from how much damage it did earlier, I don't think it would have. But giving the Amoonguss a free switch in off of the Lapras KO, I don't think was the way to go. Because now you can't get around the full health Amoonguss because you don't have any ways to deal with it. So I think that was probably where this one went wrong. But I do like Susie J's adaptation. I think the Lapras lead worked out very, very well. And interestingly enough, this is something we don't talk about too much, but Aldrich actually reveals Sucker Punch there. It's not, usually
it's not big, but that is still something to note off.
Yeah, it is definitely something to still sort of keep in the back of your mind when you're playing best of threes. To be like, okay, how much information do I want to reveal? Sometimes it's better to just surrender and just move on.
And this isn't like when you're playing in a battle stadium where it's just a best of 1. The Asian tournaments, for the most part, if not, we're not playing tournament like online tournaments such as this. The official circuit here in Asia is actually best of 1, like in Japan and Korea. So it's really kind of hard to, make some changes, especially when we're going into when we're going to worlds where we got used to best of 1, and then into the worlds it's going to be the best of 3. It's definitely a huge change. Not knowing what your opponent has, Definitely you're gonna bring a lot of gimmicks, but then again, if you're gonna go into the grand finals or some shit or something like that, uh, it's just best of three is the gimmicks doesn't work in best of three,
Yeah.
basically,
Hmm.
right? So whatever you're going to be revealing into game number one is going to be basically everything, and in a best of three, that more so in a best of
Hmm.
three.
Absolutely. Best of three is definitely a different beast than best of one. There's a lot of, as you said, gimmicky things that just do not
Mhm.
work in a best of three scenario. Because once you know the gimmick, you're like, okay, now I know what to do to get around this. But I believe game
Right.
three is ready, JJ.
All
So
right, let's do it.
yeah, let's do it. Let's see who is able to come out on top. Is it going to be Aldrich, the Uno cheater, or Susie J?
Let's see though. Let us have a champion time. Aldrich going to switch out his leads. It's not going to be the Kyogre, but instead it is going to be the Transistor Reggie Alecki. Is that a shiny Reggie Alecki?
It is. It is shiny. I really like the shiny, by the
Oh,
way. Definitely one of
it's
my
a
favorite
much
shinies.
glowier,
I really like the
if that
white.
is even a word.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's better than Zapdos' shiny, so like,
Yeah. Zapdos shiny is darker and has like the blue tips on the wings,
but you
but
don't
this is
even, you
definitely
can't even
a better
tell.
one.
It's just like the same thing. It's so bad. Anyways, back to competitive
Yeah.
Pokemon. we see
Unite is love, dude.
we'd see Susie J hovering over, potentially going for that, setting up that screen again. We haven't seen him really use Spore too often, even though he has Focus Sash on Amoonguss. So, which
We already
means
saw it once.
we did see it once against that Dragapult, but typically Amoonguss likes to just kind of spam that move. But he's been going for a lot of Rage Powders and a lot of Protects. But last game worked out great. I mean, he just kept switching his Amoonguss in and out, getting that Regenerator, getting back to full HP. I think Aldrich kind of needs to get rid of this Amoonguss turn 1, turn 2 if he has any hope of winning. I think like Volt Switch or Electro Web into Max Airstream will probably do the trick, unless the Amoonguss protects.
I mean, at this point, I don't think a speed matters much for Suzuki just because of the fact that he's still well, definitely speed control is something, right? But knowing the Pokemon of Suzuki here, knowing how defensive they are, I don't think that speed matters as much, especially for the Amoonguss and the Lapras. So that is something to think about as well. Aldrich, though, might be able to get, of course, Electro Web here, going to reduce the speed of the Lapras. Max Airstream for +1 into Aldrich, essentially making him +2. But still, it's too bulky for him to actually make use of speed control, unless he would be able to get a critical hit, make sure to take out the Lapras and the Amoonguss immediately into turn 2 or maybe turn 3 in the latest. Only then is the speed actually going to matter for Suzuki.
Yeah. Max Ice, or not Max Ice, I'm sorry. G-Max Resonance into the Regieleki this time, setting up that Aurora Veil. Definitely, I think a smart move. Regieleki is definitely not something you want to be dealing with if you are Susie J. We saw how much Electro Web did, which is a spread move, so it has less damage to a Dynamax Lapras. Kind of insane. But okay, Rillaboom's coming out this time. That's kind of a problem for Susie J. I think, we saw Choice Band Rillaboom before, and we saw it just demolish a Lapras with Woodhammer.
Right.
And it's, Lapras is guaranteed to be slower, which I think maybe that's what Aldrich was going for, saying, I have Rillaboom, and I can ignore your Rage Powder. This is how I'm going to deal with your Amoonguss and get rid of your Lapras. It's just, I'm going to lower your speed, make sure my Rillaboom's faster than your Lapras. There's no weird shenanigans. And just Woodhammer, Max Air, Max whatever, into that slot and just take it out. Okay, Max Guard coming out, though.
This has been like one of the win cons of Aldrich here, which actually gave him the win on game number 1. So definitely seeing it back right now is something for Aldrich. And again, as you mentioned, this is a huge problem for Suzuki. Just being able not to Rage Powder one of the Pokemon, not being able to redirect one of the moves is definitely making sure that Lapras or any of the defensive Pokemon last that long.
It has been a very, very big problem for Aldrich. Mungus has been a real thorn in his side, even though it's a mushroom. But but we do see, Lapras can protect this turn. It can technically, but most likely won't be able to. So I think we did see him, go for a switch. You don't usually see people switch out their Dynamax Pokemon before its Dynamax is done, but I think it's the right decision here. It's kind of a hard read to make. I don't think Aldrich is going to be able to read into that one, although an Airstream on that slot could have been the play, but no, he goes for a Max Guard. As the Woodhammer does come out into this Amoonguss. Not going to do much
presses
damage.
The Pokeball logo on top.
And fly from Thunderous.
Fly into that of the goes into this is actually very very good move for Sesuj. Now we have the fly from Thunderous, right? Definitely this is just him basically eject bottoning this Rillaboom. Essentially just making sure that Rillaboom gets switched out. And then he also has the Amoonguss up into his side of the field, so he could just like ramp again with number one, the Rage Powder, or maybe even use the Spore once again.
Absolutely.
And if he does that correctly, he might have just Spore this Kyogre, knowing the fact that he is forcing Aldrich to switch out that Rillaboom is something for him.
Yeah, it could have been. But we will see the Hurricane come in. I do like that play, switching in to get the rain. 100% accurate Hurricane. Won't get the confusion. And Fly's going to miss. That is actually huge. That is huge. That damage on Kyogre would have been insanely useful.
Right.
Because now...
Man, this is a...
Yeah, now you can,
man, this is hard.
This is... I really like how Sesuj is just switching in and out. It's got to be very frustrating for Aldrich to deal with. But Aldrich does have some pretty decent momentum going into this turn. He is faster. He could go for a fly himself to try and get around this Lapras potentially. We will see the Kyogre protect and Tailwind coming out, making sure he has speed control for at least most of the game here. And Wild Charge will come out into that Tornadus and pick up the KO.
Was enough as well.
Yeah, a bit of a sack there, but Rillaboom will have a lot of speed control on its side, and so will Kyogre. So Kyogre will be able to go for, these Ice Beams into that Thunderous. Of course, we know Thunderous is Assault Vest based off of how much damage it's been taking. So the problem is, will Rillaboom be able to do enough damage with Kyogre to get rid of this Thunderous? I don't think it will. I think this might actually be kind of sealed up for Sesuj at this point, because he still has 2 Pokemon in the back, one of which is an Amoonguss at like full HP.
Right. I mean, as much as I didn't like the move for Sesuj, switching out an Amoonguss instead of like, going for a Spore into the force switch out of that Rillaboom, I think this is like one of the better outcomes as well. Making sure that he still has like 4 Pokemon into the side of the field. 2 on his back, and even if Aldrich, for some miracle, is going to be able to like take out this Lapras and this Thunderous, he still has some Pokemon up his back. And again, we already know that this Pokemon is currently on choice, so
I think this was his best play. Yep. Okay. He's still in this. I really like that decision. So what he says is, okay, the way I win this game, I have 1 turn of grassy terrain left. I KO your Lapras because either it protects and it doesn't get hit by Water Spout, and then I KO your Thunderous, which is your biggest threat to me right now. Or it doesn't protect, and since I have priority, I KO it, and then it won't get healed. And then I have a fully powered, double speed Kyogre at max HP in the rain, Water Spout. And it's a spread move, so Amoonguss can't redirect it. Now, Rillaboom is locked in the Grassy Glide. It can't change its move anymore because it is choice banned, or presumably is choice banned, based off of its moveset. But Zacian isn't going to appreciate these fully powered, rain-boosted Water Spouts coming off of Kyogre. It could protect here and try and stall out Rain. We don't know how many turns of Rain are left off the top of my head, But that definitely was a great turn. The issue is Amoonguss does have Spore.
That is true. He could just like, here's the thing, right? Rillaboom and Kyogre is not going to do a lot into the Among Us. So the Spore here could be the play for Jay just to be able to, ensure the win. But here we have an aggressive slide into that Among Us. Not going to do a lot, as we know. Sacred Sword right now, the Sacred Sword is going to be able to like one KO the Kyogre if it hits. But oh man, let's see. This is going to be this is kind of difficult right now for Aldrich, but let's see how it's going to be able to, get out of the situation.
I really like that Protect coming out. That was a really good read saying, okay, I think you're going to, try and put me to sleep or Protect on your side of the field. So I'm going to sort of bypass this turn. However, Zacian will go for Protect. We did see him Grassy Glide the Amoonguss trying to, chip it down to try and maybe get a crit Water Spout with a Grassy Glide. But yeah, Amoonguss is going to be able to take that very, very nicely. And Spore should be able to put this Kyogre to sleep now if he went for it. Yeah, that's...
And he did.
That is rough. Unless he gets a turn 1 Wake Up, it's gonna be rough. But Rain is over.
It's not, dude. It's not gonna go for a 1 turn Wake Up.
Tailwind's over too.
One out of 3 chances only to actually wake up in this turn. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to be the case. Let's see though. Sacred Sword is going to be able to one KO the Kyogre. Not quite enough. Not quite enough. But you have to remember that Amoonguss still has the Giga Drain that could just potentially KO this Kyogre here, and I think that's it.
I believe so. Oh no, looks like Kyogre.
Oh, it actually survived.
And it is weakness policy boosted. I mean, if you Protect Zacian, Wake Up, crit, Ice Beam Amoonguss, you could win. Maybe.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe?
I mean,
okay. Or are you just attacking? You win.
Never mind. Yeah. I mean, we did see the Ice Beam not doing a lot of damage into the Amoonguss, but that is because there was the Aurora Veil into Susujay's side.
And now, yeah, even with the Aurora Veil gone, though, this Amoonguss does seem to be pretty specially defensive, which I think is pretty common considering the format, considering that Kyogre is a pretty big threat that Amoonguss needs to be able to deal with. So I think this is going to be a wrap for the Uno Cheater, for Aldrich. Honestly, really great play from Susie J. I mean, game 1, Aldrich just had in the bag.
He was just dominating. He was just dominating game 1.
Very dominant play in game 1. And then game 2, Susie J really brought it back in this game 3. Once again, I mean, it just, I don't want to say Lapras carried him because obviously he played very well, but the power of Aurora Veil is honestly frustrating.
Man, that is... leaves
it's honestly frustrating.
Without any words anymore, dude. Leaves us speechless. And that is it. Susie J is going to win against Aldrich 2-1, and that means it is going to be Salty Sylveon versus Susie J into the next game. And on the other match is going to be Exol and Casper.
All right, so we will be back shortly with some more action here for you all. So stick around and stay tuned. And yeah, we'll be right back.